obviously Rachel, her home run gets a lot of credit. It's a 3-run go-ahead home run, but yours was huge. It was 2 outs, tied the game up there in the 6th.
Yeah.
Coach mentioned you were scuffling, kind of coming into that bat. You mentioned you weren't seeing the ball. What changed in that? You just get the pitch that you wanted to connect on. What was the difference in that?
Yeah, so I just thought about I had nothing to lose, but everything to gain in that moment. So like, I try not to make the moment too big. I stayed simple. I was in a way looking for my pitch. I love hitting inside pitches. That's what I hit well, and I knew like I can hit it strong. I was trying to find a gap, just trying to get things started. But yeah, I took the first pitch as a ball. Obviously, it was on the inside half, and I knew that her tendencies from the past couple of games, she was going to try to come back in and get ahead. So I knew that pitch was going to be right where I wanted it to, and I saw it well. I was perfectly on time, and I was just able to stay through it and put it over. But that was a crazy experience for sure.
How have you ladies, I mean, this is such a big moment, historic moment for the program. How have you all handled this? I mean, we're kind of a couple of days away past it. We're also a couple of days away from another big moment, Super Regionals. How have you all handled it? Because, I mean, the travel and all this other stuff.
It's been like kind of a surreal moment. I still feel like have a lot of adrenaline from the moment. It's like a fever dream. It's something that you dream of when you're a little girl, watching those same girls play, and you get to live out that dream. So it's been great. We had an easy practice day, get some good feel good swings, and tomorrow we're going hard when we get to Oregon, and we're gonna be watching a lot of film. So it's exciting. You kind of have to, in a way, put it aside and focus on the next task at hand. But we're so just excited that we were able to make history, and we're going to continue to do that by doing well in Oregon.
Yeah, I just think it's such a surreal moment, and we obviously celebrated, like we had fun together. But now it's like, okay, like that was only the first step. Like we still have more work to do. So I think everyone's just kind of excited and just ready to play.
When you look at what this program has become and to knock off a team like Texas A&M, because there was a lot of adversity. I guess the biggest question is, and this might sound like a dumb question, but how big was it to win that first game to go to the winner's side of the bracket? Because in essence, you had 2 chances to win 1 versus knowing you had to win 2. I mean, you have to win 2, but the way the order was, it was better to win the first one and then the last one versus winning the last 2.
Absolutely. It set the tone for the rest of the weekend. Like, you win that game, I feel like we were in the driver's seat the whole time. I don't know about Alyssa or some other players, but I just knew when we won that game that we were going to win the whole thing. I kept that in the back of my brain because obviously you don't want to say that. You have to be in the moment and play the other 2 games or the other game that we had. But when we beat them, like, they were upset. Like, they knew that we came to play. So I think that was super cool, just being able to set the tone in front of all those crazy fans. So
Yeah, I know for me, like I feel that game is almost bigger than the Sunday games because that game sets you up so well if you win. And so I think we all knew that going into it, and we played well together, and after that game we just felt so confident going into Sunday.
And Alyssa, they knew coming from Campbell that you produced in the big moments, and that's what got you from, coming in just a timely role to a full-time starter. Can you tell me about your journey just through those at-bats and then finally getting a starting role?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what the coach's like plan was for me this year really, and I kind of leaned into for most of the season the pinch hitting role, and I mean I think nobody really wants that role, but I knew that was God's plan for me for a reason, and I just fully leaned into that. And looking back, like I had so many opportunities pinch hitting in moments of pressure, and I'm so grateful for that because that helped me postseason where I got these opportunities in moments of pressure, and I felt totally calm thanks to the Lord and thanks to those moments.
Savannah, given where you guys were at last year, obviously you 1 out away from going to the Super Regionals, you have that first game on Sunday where you have the 6-0 lead. I'm sure you can kind of feel a little bit of the Super Regionals there, and then you lose in the chaotic game in between. I know it was only like 35, 40 minutes or something. Was there any kind of, thought to maybe, hey, this is a tough battle we got here against number 1? Is it speak kind of to the resolve that you guys have built since last year against that Georgia game?
Yeah, I think that the reason why we were here, and we were able to win this game was because of last year. Like, it was left such a sour taste in our mouths that we were so close yet, and we couldn't get the job done last year. But we proved ourselves. We proved that we could hang with anyone, and I think that just having the confidence of being 1 out away from last year helped us with this weekend. In between games, we were able just to kind of reset. Our coaches gave us a lot of positive feedback. Like, we literally scored 11 runs on the #1 team in the country. So I think that gave us a lot of momentum going into the next game. We had a couple miscues here and there, obviously in the first game on Sunday, but like I said before, I think we all knew we were in the driver's seat. Like, to put up 11 runs in one game is amazing to be trying to beat the #1 team in the country. But yeah, I mean, I think we were all super calm. We knew we had to do it for each other. We were down 3-0 in the last game, and I don't think any of us were ever worried, or at least we didn't show we were worried. Like, we all knew that we were going to get it done. It just took time, and our coaches always tell us we have to be scrappy in big moments, and that's why we came up big.
And with that weather, you had to be melting down behind the plate, but you could tell you were in Yoder's ear the entire time when she stepped in.
Yeah.
Talk about some of that communication and what you were feeling right
Yeah, absolutely. So I am, have all the catcher's gear on me. It is, I think they said it was feeling 104 on Saturday's game. That is the hottest I have ever been in my entire life, by the way. Like, it was really, really bad. And I was sweating. Like, it was terrible. A lot of things go into it. But the thing that, I just had to keep my mind clear. I had to realize that, and the fans are going crazy too. So you have like a lot of different factors going into that. But I had to, keep my face on the pitcher, and I felt like I was screaming and trying to holler for her, and I feel like it was going nowhere, and I felt like she couldn't hear me. But that's just kind of what you have to do. It kept me from staying inside myself and worrying about me being hot or anything like that, and I had to worry about the pitcher and my infield. So there's a lot of different crazy things I think back there too. Like, sometimes my mind starts to wander a little bit, and I have to refocus. But the last game, Yoder told me, she said, when you're struggling or if there's a big moment, sometimes I either think about nothing or I think about the Lord. And so that's what she told me before I went up and hit my home run. And I told her the same thing when she went out to go pitch. I said, you either think about nothing or you think about the Lord. And I think that this weekend was just a true testimony of what the Lord has done with our team and for our team. And if someone doesn't recognize God's faithfulness after seeing our games, like, I don't know what to think. Like, it was a true David and Goliath thing, and I believe that like I said, we were in it to win it. And but yeah, I think having the pitcher-catcher communication is awesome, especially when you can't even hear each other. But even body language type of things were big for us. And the infield did a great job of talking to Yoder as well, the corners and the middle infield. So I'm not sure if she could hear everything, but it was cool to see the communication. You could definitely see like some hand signals with me and her back there. So.
I asked coach a version of this question. It's probably better for the players, but in the last 48 hours or 36 hours since the game has ended, has there been a moment where you're like, man, I can't believe such and such is talking about Liberty, or such and such has reached out to us about our program, or kind of a pinch me moment? And given the historical nature of knocking off #1, being the first team to ever do that, has there kind of been a moment like that for you in the last couple of days?
I know for me, like, it's just so much like family watch the game, and like so many of like our family friends, like their family, like watch the game and we're reaching out, and it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, like we put Liberty on the map, like we're doing great things, and there's still more to come.
Yeah, I think the cool thing too is there's a lady named Jen Schroeder. She used to play at UCLA. She was a catcher. She was tweeting about us the whole game, like the obstruction call, the call at home plate with me, like all these crazy things, like people that you look up to or you see as a big eye in NCAA softball, you always see on SportsCenter being an analyst, things like that. And those people were watching us. Like, you think about them, like they're normally watching the UCLAs, the Oklahomas, the Alabamas, the people like that. But everyone was cheering for us. And like, this is really crazy too, but even TikTok, like TikTok is probably, people have their difference of opinions on TikTok, but we blew up TikTok. Like all these different crazy scenarios, like how much like we had to deal with the people on the bench, like from their team, like a lot of controversy there, any crazy things that the fans said, controversy with calls. Like, it was just crazy how the softball community came together and were cheering for us. And we didn't just reach people in our community, like people from my home, people from, I know Jemiah's home, like they're getting interviewed from people from like your hometown. The nation is pulling for us. And I think that I'm just so glad we were able to do it, because finally I think people are starting to see that we don't play around, and we're ready to take it on to the next level. So.
I think it was just crazy, like going on social media after the game and it was like filled with Liberty.
It was.
So it's like, oh my gosh, it was crazy.
It
It still
wild.
is.
It still
It
is.
still is.
Yeah, our
That's
phones are
why.
still blowing up. It's been 2 days.
Yeah.